Hi, Rashonda here, Rashonda's Reading Room. We are reading Hagar's Daughter by Pauline Hopkins. We are on chapter 12. It looks like chapter 12 is kind of long. Let's see. It's like 7 pages. We'll get through it. So, chapter 12, A Plot for 10 Millions. It was near 9 o'clock the next morning, and General Benson was still invisible. His colored valet was he a slave or a free person? I don't know. His colored valet was moving about noiselessly, making ready for his master. Breakfast was on the table in its silver covers. A bell rang. Isaac disappeared. Who's Isaac? I mean, Isaac was St. Clair's slave, but what's that have to do with General Benson? I don't know. Maybe Isaac is the colored valet. Okay, we'll go with Isaac is General Benson's colored valet, who is probably his slave. Let's read that again. It was near 9 o'clock the next morning, and General Benson was still invisible. His colored valet was moving about noiselessly, making ready for his master. Breakfast was on the table in its silver covers. A bell rang. Isaac disappeared. General Benson's renown as a great social leader rested not only on his lavish expenditure and luxurious lifestyle of living at Willard's Hotel, where he monopolized one of the most expensive suites, but upon his mental and physical attributes as well. The ladies all voted him a charming fellow. He had a remarkably sweet and caressing voice, which added to his attractions. The many women to whom he had vowed eternal fidelity at one moment, only to abandon heartlessly the next at the rise of a new star on the firmament of beauty, sighed and wept at his defection and voted him the most perfect lover imaginable. What? So he's a ladies' man and they love him because he's a ladies' man? So I have never understood that. I have never understood the allure of a man who is with lots of women, and the lots of women know the man is with lots of women, and they're like, oh, I want to be with him. I do not understand that. That has never made sense to me. It was hinted that one girl had committed suicide solely on his account. But still, the ladies believed in his professions. Why would they believe his professions of love when clearly he doesn't mean them? All right. The members of the various clubs that he affected acknowledged him to be an admirable card player, a good horseman, an expert with sword or revolver, as well as an unusually agreeable companion in a search after pleasure, generous, too, with his money. But with all his popularity and increase of fame, his fortune declined, and he found himself at the present time embarrassed for money, his capital growing smaller each month in spite of a large salary. Uh-oh. Debts of honor must be met, and to keep a good name, one's opponent must sometimes win. Then, too, he was growing old. He carried his years well, but 50 was looming perilously near. He and his friend, Major Henry Clay Madison, president of the Arrowhead Mining Company of Colorado, newly established in the city, had a mutual interest in the great scheme that was to make the fortunes of the different shareholders. But even the generous payments he received as his share of the profits made out of verdant men of means who became easy prey because of General Benson's sweet, persuasive voice and exalted position in the political world, failed to assist him out of his financial dilemma. They're only your friends when you are helping them. They don't want to help you. That's sad. Within a month, a new scheme had entered his mind, one that dazzled him. The possibilities were so great. A scheme which, if successfully handled, would put millions in the pockets of a trio of unscrupulous adventurers, Major Madison and his daughter and himself. As the clock chimed 9, General Benson entered a room and seated himself at the breakfast table. A moment later, his valet informed him that Major and Miss Madison wished to see him. Very well, show them in at once. So let's see if Miss Madison's name is Aurelia or Amelia. Presently, the valet ushered them in. The major we have mentioned before. He was short, stout, more than 50, with gray hair and ferret-like eyes, close set, and a greenish gray of peculiar ugliness. Ouch! A close observer would take exception to them immediately. He was scrupulously attired in the height of fashion. He was accompanied by the strange beauty who had attended the theater the night before. Well, General, you sent for us, and here we are. How are you? Was the major's greeting as he shook hands with General Benson and then flung himself into an armchair. Very well indeed. Thanks, Madison. What is it indeed you, Aurelia? Aurelia. What is it indeed you, Aurelia? He exclaimed on beholding the girl. How delightful to have you with us once again. The lady inclined her head slightly in answer to her host's warm greeting, ignored his offered hand, and subsided onto a chair with a preoccupied air, a slight frown puckering her forehead. Don't mind Aurelia, General. She's mooning as usual, laughed her father. You are looking very fit, Major, remarked Benson, recovering from the confusion caused by Aurelia's coolness. Have a B&S? I have no idea what that is. Is it a drink? Is it a cigar? I don't know. Oh, we're about to find out. Have a B&S? Don't care if I do. Benson poured a brandy and soda. Ah, B&S. Benson poured a brandy and soda for his guest and another for himself, passed the cigars to him and the cigarettes to Miss Madison. She took one, lit it, and drew away in a manner that showed her keen enjoyment. A smile passed over Benson's face as he covertly watched her. Well, Madison, the general said after a few moments' enjoyment of the weed. I'm assuming that's just a regular cigar and not marijuana. I don't know. I sent for you to come here this morning on a matter of business because I shall not be able to call on you at any time today, for I may have to go out of town at any moment on some confounded office business. It's a nuisance, I say. The office interferes too much with a man's pleasure. If my plans succeed, I'll cut the whole thing. Indeed. I imagine we are mutually interested when you speak of business. You're not ruined, I take it. Do you want to borrow money of me? Said the major with a laugh as he drew his chair a trifle closer to his friend. The lady evinced no interest in the conversation, but we know she's listening. We know she is. On the contrary, I wish to offer you a chance to make some. You are extremely kind, Benson. You could not have chosen a more opportune time for your offer. Will you believe it? I was compelled to part with a diamond pin this morning, replied Madison, touching his polished shirt front. But what can I do for you? Like, was he gambling? How do you just oh, I have to give you my diamond pin. What is going on with these wealthy people? This is the lifestyle of the rich and famous. I need Robin Leach. Do you remember that show? Lifestyle of the Rich and Famous with Robin Leach. And I think it was a Saturday Night Live sketch, and they were like, I'm Robin Leach. I don't know why. Okay. Since we joined forces, Madison, on the strictly respectable basis, we have gained fame and influence and but little money. It takes money to maintain our position and plenty of it. This you know. I have studied the situation and am convinced that our only surety for providing for the future lies in a coup that shall net us millions on which we may retire. Yes, but how we get it, replied Madison with a mournful shake of the head. Yes, but how to get it, replied Madison with a mournful shake of the head. Work is not in our line. Unsafe expedients are dangerous and not to be thought of. I do not fancy running my head into a noose. One can't do much but go straight here, and money's a scarce article. Be patient. You need have no apprehension that I shall suggest anything dangerous, Madison, though the time was when you were the risky one and I the one to hesitate, with a significant uplifting of the eyebrows. True, but time has changed my ideas. I have a hankering for respectability that amounts to a passion. Remain as respectable as you wish, my friend. I have a legitimate scheme that will make us masters of 10 millions. No risk, nothing necessary but judicious diplomacy. This sounds like a Ponzi scheme to me. Let's keep reading, though. Miss Madison had evinced no interest until now, but at the words 10 millions uttered by this man whom she knew to be practical, astute in business, and no dreamer, she seemed to awaken from her lethargy. She retained her self-possession, however, and maintained her unruffled calm, remarking carelessly, even sarcastically, May I ask the nature of the plan, General, and where my usefulness comes in? I was about to explain that point, my dear, but first permit me to ask a question. Has the idea of acquiring a fortune by a wealthy marriage ever occurred to you? Let's use all the women as pawns. Let's do it. Yes, I admit it has, but you know too well my reasons for hesitating in such a course. Ooh, she's calling him out. Benson moved uneasily in his seat, and for a moment his eyes dropped under the steady gaze that the girl bent upon him. A large, dreamy, melting, dazzling the senses, but at this moment baleful. A dull flush mounted to his brow. See here, Aurelia, have you tried to find an opportunity? Possibly, she answered coldly. And you met with no success? Evidently not, as I am single. Then your efforts were misdirected. Do you think so? Mockingly. Most assuredly I do. Your attention was bestowed upon men for whom you had conceived a real liking. That is not the way to bring success in such a venture. Don't actually like the men you date and think about marrying. Only think about the money and what's in it for you. Oh my. It is the wrong lead for a woman like me, an adventuress, to forget her position for one instant and allow her heart to guide her head. What fool wrote poverty is no crime? I know of none greater. It is responsible for every crime committed under the sun. It is a foul curse. Why, Aurelia, girl, what has come to you this morning? You talk like a man with the blue devils after losing all night at poker, said her father. Well, all right, so that's how she talks. Her answer was a shrug of her handsome shoulders as she resumed her listless attitude. Listen to me. I will unfold a scheme that shall remove the curse of poverty and give you for a husband a man who will fill the bill, heart and all. Hmm. He rose, approached the mantel, and turning his back upon it, rested both elbows on the marble, a position which brought him face to face with his guests, and asked, Are you acquainted with Cuthbert Sumner? Know him by sight and reputation. Clerk in your department, replied Madison. Aurelia did not speak, but a flush came into her face, a light to her eyes. One might have felt the thrill that passed over her form. I'm sure, because she definitely had eyes on Cuthbert Sumner. What do you think of him? He's all right, a genial fellow, but careful not to go too far. Handsome, too, by Jove. No money, though. Oh, yes, nodded Benson. Only in the department for experience in political life. His father's very wealthy, New England manufacturer. Indeed. He's the one I've picked out for Our Lady here. But he's engaged, broke in Aurelia. Exactly. And that brings me to the rest of the scheme. Sumner is about to marry Bowen's daughter. By the way, Aurelia, you got the cards for the ball, did you not? Aurelia bowed in assent. Jewel Bowen is the senator's only child and his heiress. She will receive 10 millions upon her. Oh, 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 oh. I just realized what the plan is. Oh. Mm. Okay, let me keep reading. Maybe the plan isn't as dire as I think it might be. All right. Jewel Bowen is the senator's only child and his heiress. She will receive 10 millions upon her wedding day. What I propose is that Aurelia fascinate the gentleman, thus leaving the field clear for me. I have taken a decided fancy. Oh, okay. I thought they were going to kill her. I was like, oh my gosh, they're going to let him get married to her, then they're going to kill her, and then he's going to take solace in Aurelia's arms. Oh, oh, okay. I was having a moment. I was like, no, we're not, no, let's not kill her, no. All right, what I propose is that Aurelia fascinate the gentleman, thus leaving the field clear for me. I have taken a decided fancy to Miss Bowen and her fortune. If I succeed, there is 1 million for you, Madison, and another for Aurelia. Sumner, too, has pots of money, and we shall all be able to settle down into quiet respectability. What do you think of my plan? I think your plan is awful. You're trying to bust up somebody's marriage. You're using women as pawns in your scheme to get money caring nothing about their emotions, but only what they can do for you. I think your plan is abysmal, is what I think of your plan. By Jove, Benson, blurted out Major Madison, fairly thunderstruck at the magnificence of the vista opened before him. What a splendid idea! How admirably you have planned things! Benson nodded and smiled. So he is okay with using his own daughter like this? That is messed up. All remains with Aurelia, and certainly with her magnificent beauty to help us, we need fear no failure. Spare me your compliments. This is probably your last chance, General. So you think I can win Mr. Sumner from his betrothed? She said. Precisely. That is a droll idea. Do you think? I repeat, that you can easily make the person referred to sufficiently in love with you to do anything you ask. Suppose he proves obdurate, what then? You cannot judge all men alike. Break the engagement if you can do nothing more. During a fit of insanity, if it lasts but a week, an hour even, you will have ample time to accomplish my desires. And then I will look after Mademoiselle. It will make no difference to you. Your compensation will be my affair. It is only his money that you would want. Okay, so Aurelia already wants Cuthbert Sumner. We know this. But what Benson is saying, okay, just break off the engagement and I'll pay you $1 million out of the 10 million I get. You won't get Sumner's money if you can't keep him, but that's on you. Part of me is like, okay, we know that women are always used as pawns in the 21st century, in the 19th century, in every century. I am not accustomed to having such a straightforward conversation about it. I mean, I'm happy she's there for the conversation, but what choice does she have? She can't really say no. Like, and I don't know that she wants to say no because she does like Cuthbert Sumner. I'm so okay. So she loves Cuthbert Sumner. She does not like that he is engaged, but she also recognized he looked at Jewel with love, which is a way he never looked at her. I'm sure she wants money. She had the whole speech about how poverty is the foulest thing in the world. Um, I'm all aflutter here. Okay. Oh, I see. There was a world of sarcasm in the 3 words uttered by a smiling mouth. My dear General, you are indeed a marvel. No one knows better than you how to make love to a young girl. You are the cleverest woman I know, Aurelia. I knew you would comprehend the situation perfectly. After a moment's reflection, the girl replied, okay, and why are we calling her a girl? She is a full-grown woman that you are asking to do full-grown people things. And you're calling her a girl? Mm. All right. After a moment's reflection, the girl replied, yes, I think I'll try it. It will probably be announced before long that the marriage is broken off. I will earn my million, never fear. I shall doubtless find it an agreeable task. And a husband too, my girl, added her father. Perhaps. Are we to be intimate friends or simply business acquaintances? Asked the Major of General Benson. Business friends will be best. Let us have no appearance of collusion. When shall we see you again? Asked the Major as they rose to go. Just as soon as you have something to tell me. How fortunate that Aurelia has never been introduced to Washington society. She will take the place by storm. Then the friends separated. To be continued. Mm, 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 mm. So that was chapter 12 of Hagar's Daughter by Pauline Hopkins. Until next time.